Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little look at r/best of Redditor updates, and I have a feeling, because this is a slightly shorter one, we'll probably end up doing a little bit of like, am I the butthole, or something like that as well, depending on what time we have. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to today with me, then please do stick around and enjoy, and don't forget to like and subscribe, thank you. Okay, and of course a disclaimer, any opinions I give on the posts that we read are just my opinions, they are not facts, not to be taken as such. If you have a differing opinion, fantastic, do feel free to leave it in the comments. Just make sure you're being respectful and, not being mean if you don't agree with someone or me. With that being said, we will get into it. First of all, though, big apology, by the way, that I have not been present at all in the comments for the last 2 videos that were posted last week. It was a very spiky brain week. Well, and half of the week, the last half of the week, was what I like to call a spiky brain week, which is basically just where my brain issue decides to flare up. And yeah, that's a whole lot of fun. And when it's like that, I don't feel very conversational, I must say, and quite often can't be very conversational because half the time I just feel like I can't find the right words for anything. Honestly, it's genuinely like someone's put my head in a blender when it's like that. So yeah, I will be present today though, I can tell you that for free. Anyway, let's get into it then, shall we? So this one, of course, was reshared by Direct Caterpillar 77. Boyfriend 25M told me he used to ask out fat girls for fun. Am I 22F right to be disgusted by him? So of course, Direct Caterpillar is the person who compiled this into one little place for us, like a lovely little bean. The original poster was u/iTownmans, I think. I can't tell if that's an I or an L, so we're gonna go with an I. We got a trigger warning for body shaming and bullying, so of course if you can't handle any of those themes, that is okie dokie. There is many other videos to go and listen to on this channel right now, honestly. And other than that, I'm sure if you've listened to them all already, YouTube is a lovely wide place. You'll find something else, I'm sure. And we will see you in the next one. So it was originally posted March 3rd, 2019. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 1 year. He's a very tall, attractive guy. He was on the hockey team in university, and his team was kind of like a bunch of frat dudes. Say no more. But he never seemed like that kind of guy. He was always very kind and sensitive with me. He also seemed to be a very respectful and caring person. He's in medical school right now. Oh, that doesn't bode well considering the title of this story. Some of his buddies from his former team came over yesterday and were just talking and hanging out. They started talking about their old shenanigans in uni. My boyfriend said, "Remember that time I broke the record for our chunky chick challenge?" Oh, what a knobhead. I asked him what the chunky chick challenge was, and he said the goal was to ask out as many fat girls in a week. Everyone would put money in the prize pool, and winner would get the entire prize at the end of the week. Basically, he asked out like 50 fat girls over text, in person, secretly recording their convo, and ghosted them on the day. What a knobhead! I was shocked and said that was so mean and gross. My boyfriend said the challenge was just a joke, for fun, etc. Yeah, sure it was. He accused me of overreacting. Am I though? No. It's a sign of a very poor character for someone to do that, because for a start, they're basically seeing women who are larger as like, I don't know, a butt of a joke. That's just not right. They're seeing them as less than. They're not treating them like human beings at all, or equals, that's for sure, purely going by their size. So yeah, it proves that there is a big old deficit in his character. For a start, I'd be binning him straight off, honestly, because I'm telling you now, there has been times when my weight has fluctuated quite severely because of different medications. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, Sometimes I can be at my quote-unquote ideal weight for my height, Other times I'm above it because the medications. I have no control over it. You know, sometimes I'm holding water like God knows what because of medications around, and it's always around my face. It does my head in. So things like this I have zero tolerance for. You know, being someone who has had to deal with partners when I've been on the medications, then turning around and being like, oh, you don't look good right now. Oh, I don't like it. And it's like, dude, it's like, what, £10 extra? And you're telling me that apparently all of a sudden I'm so repulsive to you? No, thank you. You know, in the bin. In the bin. So then the OP says, TLDR, boyfriend said he used to ask out and ghost fat girls in order to win a challenge. So, top comments. Relichesis says, he also seems to be a very respectful and caring person. Apparently, only to people who he deems attractive enough to be treated decently. Exactly. Zombie Slayer 13X then says, preach! Can't wait till he's a doctor and has to deal with women, teenage girls, who may or may not have weight issues. Bet he'll be a fucking treat. Ugh, yeah, you know, he's gonna be one of those that goes, no, you've got a couple of extra pounds, so this glaringly obvious medical issue that you have clearly doesn't exist and it's obviously just your weight. Really not a good sign for someone going into the medical field. And then Auntie Venom says, gross. If your boyfriend still says it's a joke, after maturing a bit, and doesn't understand the deplorable nature of his actions, and is telling you are overreacting and not fessing up to being a waste of space in college, yeah, that's a no. Character counts, exactly. Because he's not looking back at what he did and going, God, that was awful. Can't believe I did that. He's looking at it and being like, it was so funny. Bin him. And then a deleted user says, am I, 22F, right to be disgusted by him? I know a lot of people here are saying, yes, you are right, but you didn't choose to be disgusted and shocked. You just were. People don't choose their feelings, and feelings aren't something you sit around and have intellectual debates about. It doesn't matter if you're right or not. I mean, I don't know about you, commenter, but I argue with myself over my feelings all the time. You could say it's a talent of mine. It doesn't matter if you're right or not. The fact is that you feel disgusted and there's no reasoning that feeling away. So, you're asking the wrong question. The real question is, do I want to spend my time with someone who doesn't find this behaviour disgusting? So, March 7th, 2019 is when we get an update 4 days later. Quick update. I confronted my boyfriend after his friends left and told him that I was genuinely concerned about his treatment of those girls. I said he lacked empathy, and I can't believe he doesn't see what was wrong with his actions. He finally acknowledged that yes, what he did was mean. Is it an acknowledgement, though, if you have to literally drag it out of him? I don't know. He says he didn't want to seem boring to his friends. I said I thought he was better than that. I told him I was worried about how he'd treat me if I gained weight in the future. He said that I was the type of person to always stay skinny. Little do you know. There are so, and again, concerning for someone who's going into the medical field to not understand that people don't just always stay skinny because that's the way they've always been. Things factor in: having kids, having medical problems, having treatments for medical problems, medications, depression, mental health issues. There are so many things that have an effect on your weight that are, you know, to a large degree, for a while at least, you know, out of your hands, and it takes a lot of work to then pull it back to where it was. And it's worrying he doesn't understand that. Like, what? I said he can't be so sure of that, especially if I got pregnant. I said I was scared by his shallowness. Long story short, I broke up with him. Yay! He's super sad and has been apologising non-stop via text. No matter what he says, I just can't get his cruelty out of my head. It's made me much less attracted to him, and I don't want to be associated with that kind of person. Believe you and me, you do not want to be associated with that sort of person. One of my exes was very much like that, and again, because of medical issues and life, my weight has fluctuated and then gone down and fluctuated and gone down. And the thing that kind of broke that relationship for me, there was a few things, but one of the big catalysts was towards the end. Obviously, I was having a lot of issues with my head. This was before I knew that, you know, there is a malformation in my brain box, and I was having a lot of issues, and I put on a decent amount of weight because to be honest, I couldn't move around a lot. I couldn't like go, because I used to go to the gym, I used to walk everywhere all the time and things like that, and I couldn't do it because, and I didn't know this at the time, the issues that I have with my brain can cause issues with my legs. They can cause issues with, you know, my balance. And, you know, I get what I call the dropsies quite often, where all of a sudden my hands decide, I don't want to hold this thing anymore, and off it goes. And again, I didn't know back then that this is what was happening. And of course, the excruciating pain. Couldn't bend over, can't pick up things. Like when it's like, this is why, like I said at the start of the thingy, I was having few spiky brain days, and I genuinely can't function like a normal person on those days outside of the bare minimum of I have to put all my effort basically into things I have to do, you know, so that the cooking and, you know, the child rearing and that I have to make sure everything goes into that because I have nothing else to spare. And that is basically what was happening, because the pain when I try and pick up anything heavy, even holding my breath or like raising my voice when it's like that, causes massive amounts of pain. So of course, put on weight, because at the time I didn't know what was going on either, and I felt extraordinarily depressed because no doctors were listening. So there was like a gathering of a few things, and it made me put on some weight, and it wasn't like massive amounts, it was like no more than a stone. And he basically was like, straight outright was like, you've got fat, I'm not attracted to you. Bear in mind, right, I was at my ideal weight before I put on the weight. So, a stone put on when I'm tall as well, it did not make that much difference. It was like, I was just like, yeah, just chubbier. And yeah, he was like, oh no, I'm not attracted to you. Like, I don't find you attractive and all of this stuff, but I still love you and I still want to be with you. And I just realized, I was like, and he would do this all the time, like say those things all the time. And then it clicked in my head and I was like, one, he's shallow as fuck. Two, he's enjoying telling me these things and like beating me down because he's hoping that it's gonna make me magically get skinnier, which wouldn't really have happened at that point because of how much I was like really struggling. So yeah, like people that are like that, once you see that side of them, I feel, you go one or two ways in a relationship. You make excuses for them, you decide that it's your fault and not theirs, and you forgive them, which is unfortunate, but I know that happens a lot. A lot of people do that. Or you go the way I did and you just look at them and you just think, I'm never going to be able to be happy with you because I'm forever going to second guess myself. Like any ideas that I had that, you know, we could have a happy relationship where I felt supported and stuff, I very much realize I am never going to be supported in the bad times. And bad times happen to everyone because life is like that. It likes to kick you in the fanny now and then. All of a sudden, it like opened my eyes to the fact that I can't rely on this person. And I'm also never going to feel confident around this person again. I'm never going to feel good. There's always going to be that thing in the back of my mind that's telling me, you're not good enough for this person. And it was like that because I did still try for a little bit to continue the relationship, but it just ate away at me and I just couldn't do it anymore. I could not pretend that I could ever rely on that person again. And yeah, add in other bits and bobs and that was it then. The relationship went down the poo chute. And honestly, thank God. Because looking back, I'm like, God, that was a terrible relationship. But at the time, you don't see it, do you? And I was obviously a lot younger as well. And yeah, it's gonna sour any relationship once you've seen that kind of side to someone, I feel. Anyway, we've gone on a tangent here. Let's get back to it, shall we? So then they go on to say, as I'm a new grad nurse in an eating disorder clinic, so he thought that it was a good idea to brag about that stuff to someone who works in an ED clinic. And I have to censor that word, by the way, those words, because YouTube hates them. So I have to, otherwise it really does have a big effect on the reach of your videos. It's crazy. There's certain words I know I have to censor because otherwise it affects the reach, which is so stupid and I hate doing it. So I do apologize for that, but that's why. And I see the kind of effect that rude comments and actions have on young women. One of the teenage girl patients is anorexic because she used to be fat and bullied in school. I am disgusted to think that my boyfriend embodies the cruelty of her bullies. TLDR, broke up with the boyfriend even after he acknowledged that he was being mean and apologising. As a nurse, I hope I never have to interact with him in a professional setting. Honestly, I only think that he said that he was being mean and apologised because the OP was like, what the hell? He would never have said after they'd gone that, God, yeah, no, that was actually quite mean, but I just felt like I had to agree. And anyway, you're a grown man. At that point, if your friends are doing disgusting stuff and you don't call them out on it, you are just as bad. By association, by your silence on that, you know? So, final comments. Pika789 says, I'm a guy. I knew people like that. My guess is that he does not feel bad at all. Exactly. He only feels bad because he saw how you reacted. He most likely thought he was doing those fat girls a favour by giving them attention. Don't be fooled, OP. He does not feel bad. He's got a lot to prove if he wants to show remorse for being a cruel fuck. Fuck that I was trying to impress my friends bullshit. This is my experience with these kinds of people. Exactly. And then Guardian Complex says, you're an eating disorder nurse and he thought you'd find that story funny? Sounds like you dodged an idiot bullet as well as a sociopath bullet. You made 100% the right decision. That is the last bit of that post then. That was a bit of a shorter one and we've probably got time for one more little story, a little Am I the Bort Hole, but let's have a look at the comments first, shall we? Of the Best of Redditor Updates post. So Jasmine L. Author says, he said I was the type of person to always stay skinny. Unsurprised that someone that mean is also stupid as fuck. Exactly. And then Impossible Bid 6172 says, and if assuming like him that some people always stay skinny, then presumably the fat girls always stay fat regardless of their will. So he's then attacking a condition people have no way to fix. Like, ugh, if they can lose weight, then she can gain weight too. Exactly. But the logic with these people is always very flawed because, like the other commenter said, he's stupid as fuck. So let's attempt to have a bit of a palate cleanser then, shall we, with an Am I the Bort Hole, although that is probably the most ridiculous sentence I've ever uttered, to be honest. So External Bug 8 says, am I the Bort Hole for telling my friend that his weight is ruining my vacation? For fuck's sake! Genuinely, I promise you now, I did not realise this was going to be another weight-related one, I promise. I just clicked a random one that I had saved. And because I saved them in an order, I can't do a different one because I'll forget when I record in chunks, so I'll forget which order all the other ones are then. We're gonna just read it. I'm gonna shut up now. Give it a rest, Void. Flippin' heck. Anyway, I, 21F, am currently on vacation with my friends, Apple, 21F, Banana, 22F, Clementine, 21M, and Durian, 22M. How weird that everyone else is a normal fruit and then Durian is a stinky sick fruit. Which apparently taste amazing, but I have heard they smell like vomit. Last year, we decided to book our first proper friend group trip after having known each other for 3 years. We booked a month-long trip through Southeast Asia. My friend, Durian, has been struggling with his weight for the past couple of years. 2 years ago, he confided in us that he struggles with binge eating and low self-esteem due to the way he looks. We've tried helping him in several ways, but he never accepts any help and avoids the topic altogether. If you bring up the topic, he just changes the subject, or says that he will try his best to seek help, but doesn't end up taking any action. We have thus decided we won't talk about it anymore unless he brings it up himself, because Jurian told us that we are putting too much pressure on him, which worsens his mental health. 1 year ago, when we booked our trip, Jurian announced that he would be going on a proper weight loss journey. We were kind of skeptical because he hadn't worked on his mental health, so we didn't believe weight loss would be possible without fixing the cause first. But still, we decided to support him the best we could. His goal was to go from 18 stone to 14 stone in 1 year. I myself am not the fittest, so I told him we should start training together. For about a month he showed up to our training sessions, but then just stopped coming. He always had an excuse of why he couldn't come. We tried asking him how he was doing with the weight loss, but he would always answer saying that it is a private matter, and talking about it makes him uncomfortable. I mean, fair, I understand that, I suppose. 1 month before we left for our holiday, he told us that he had gained almost 2 stone during the year. As the trip came closer, I started to get annoyed by his behaviour. He continually complains about seating, people giving him looks, which I haven't noticed, walking, not wanting to go sightseeing, that he doesn't have clothes, etc. I mean, it's fair if he's feeling like self-conscious and all of that lot. Clearly he's having problems with his mental health, as the OP has already acknowledged, and with his weight, and that's causing issues again with confidence. You know, I get that, but why have you agreed to go on a sightseeing, I would imagine, trip across Southeast Asia if you know that you don't want to go walking, you don't want to go sightseeing, you're paranoid about seating, people giving you looks, paranoid about clothes? Why have you agreed to go? That would be my question, because the thing is, if he turned around and was like, I just didn't want to lose weight, that's fair enough. You do you. You know, that's your business. But with him then basically complaining all the time to the OP and the friend group, but not actually allowing them to discuss it with him, but he just wants to moan. It's like, dude, either you want us involved or you don't. Make your mind up. Like, this is mixed signals. This is confusing. And you've told us we're not allowed to basically try and help you, but then you're moaning about it all the time to us. That's where it gets a little bit like, oh, what are we meant to do to help you here? Just say, what do you want to do? I don't mind him not participating in certain plans, but the constant nagging is just ruining my mood. My last straw was the water park. The whole ride to the park, he just kept saying how insecure he is about his body and that he can't handle going to a place where people will be looking at him. He then refused to enter the park and made a whole scene at the entrance. I just told him that he doesn't have to go if he doesn't want to, but to not ruin my vacation with his weight problems, and that he should have thought about that before coming here. After I said this, he went back to the Airbnb with Banana. Apple and Clementine are on my side, saying he brought me to my breaking point and that he should apologise for his behaviour. But Banana thinks I was too harsh and should have thought about his mental health. I haven't talked to him in 2 days and we still have 3 weeks left of our trip. Am I the butthole? No, I don't think so, because the OP has really tried to help him, tried to be supportive. He's told them that he doesn't want to talk about his weight issues, and they've all gone, okay, that's fine, we don't have to talk about it. But then he's also bringing it up constantly to then, like, basically, like the OP said, OP feels like basically nag about it all the time, as if he's expecting them to magically do something. And that can be very stressful when someone is not doing anything to help themselves, but moaning about the problem all the time as if they want something to be done about it. And it's like, mate, I can't do any of this for you. I offered to train with you. We've offered to be there for you and talk about it with you. You don't want to do those. What else are we meant to do? You knew this was going to be a sightseeing trip. You don't take a trip across Southeast Asia just to do nothing. So, you know, he obviously knew it was going to be like a traveling trip, but has then decided that he doesn't want to do any of the activities. So I do get the OP's frustration, and I do understand why they would then turn around and say, look, you can go back if you want, I'm going in, please stop trying your best to ruin my vacation because I feel like we've done nothing but listen to bitching the whole time. And I understand it's very hard to have weight issues, and it's very hard and it plays on your mind a lot. But like I say, it isn't like the OP's not tried to be supportive. They have. They really have. I think it was just one of those things of, oh my god, I just don't know how to help you anymore, and like snapped at him. Anyway, let's have a look at what the comments say, shall we? So, Six of Swords says, not the butthole, but choosing cute little fruits for all of your other friends and naming him after the giant, ugly sewer stink fruit was a choice. That's what I thought. Like, that was a bit like, oh, okay. So then Nothing Tralala says, same, knew they didn't like Jurian right away because of the nickname. Yeah, I knew who the problem in this was going to be, just by the nickname. But yeah, I'd be very interested to know what you lot think about that one. I honestly just think the OP was just fed up of hearing it. And it does get like that a bit, doesn't it? When you have someone constantly moaning and you give them so many ways to like try and help them and stuff, and they don't want to take any of it, you do reach a point of frustration with it. So, I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, I appreciate you very, very much. Here, have a gold star. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, because that is your initiation into the Governor Void. Welcome! Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Don't forget to leave an offering of a comment for Big Al. Bye!